Hello everyone. This is the 39th part of the story, Mārvēl Unlimited Skills, I Can Download. Chapter 235. Swoosh! This sound was just like a bell. Sproversus was the mount of Odin. It had white fur and 8 strong horseshoes, with dark-found stars in its eyes. At the gates of the present Earth's Norway, this god horse's statue was carved as before. As a legend of Norse mythology, Sproversus had incredible ability. It could be snowless, shuttle space, and also increase the master's ability to control the light force. It was no doubt that Valkyrie was even more tall after riding Sproversus. At the moment, behind Valkyrie, there were a large group of soldiers who were also riding the white horse, with the light of the divine light. And this was also the ability of Sproversus. At the moment, Bruce's divine consciousness could feel that these soldiers were all composed of souls, and they would not decay like a common body of soul, or disappear. Instead, they lived on the Vowspirit of Soul Castle. Therefore, as long as soul castles were there, they were forever immortal. They were just the soul warriors who were awakened by Gunnir's oath on that day. Blessed and praised by the spirit of Soul Castle, Valkyrie became the person they believed. So Sproversus brought them out of the Soul Castle, and then they fought for Valkyrie forever. Soul warriors were just the secret weapon of Asgard, and also the last defense line of Nordic Divine Kingdom. This team of soul warriors consisted of 99 members, and the energy emitted by each warrior was comparable to that of the red dragon summoned by the King of Blaze. What is this? At the moment, Surtur slashed towards the nearby soul warrior, and the high temperature caused the air around the Fire King to boil. But Soul Warrior's body suddenly disappeared in the instant when he touched the high-temperature divine sword, leaving Surtur with a void. Subsequently, Soul Warriors suddenly appeared from another place, holding a long gun and rushing over to integrate with the horse. A flash of light just passed Surtur's body, and then it also took a mixture of flames from the Fire King away. Damn it! Surtur slashed madly, but he did not stab these souls that were born in battle. Soul Warrior quickly surrounded Surtur under Valkyrie's leadership. They were charged and brave, and each attack would cause injury to Surtur. Although the eternal fire could soon patch up the wounds of Surtur, Surtur was apparently entangled by these tireless soul warriors. Valkyrie, you just hold Surtur in such a way. Don't kill him. I'm going to kill the remaining evils he summoned. When the timing is ripe, we will reseal Surtur. At the moment, Bruce said this to Valkyrie. Upon hearing Bruce's order, Valkyrie nodded and took Sproversus around Surtur, paying attention to the surrounding movement. After vacating his hand, Bruce waved his hand to cut off the vast flames and looked for the largest red dragon nearby. Dragon suddenly rose up when seeing Bruce. It was just like a fast train when its huge amounts of body passed by Bruce. Because this giant dragon's body was more than 100 meters, Bruce easily touched it and saw its information. Name, Carol. Identity, Dragon. Ability, Red Dragon's Body, Energy Value 50W, Red Dragon Power, Energy Value 50W, Flame Dragon Breath, Energy Value 50W, Red Dragon Blood Vessel, Energy Value 50W, and the Flame Immunity, Energy Value 50W. Although there was still a distance between Dragon and Surtur, this giant dragon's strength was still stronger than many other creatures. And when most of the Earth's experts saw the giant dragon, they only had to die. Just like the Asur tribe, the dragon tribe were born with thousands of years of life. It did not need to be cultivated, so it could get the battle knowledge from the blood memory that was handed down by the ancestors. And for this race, the only thing that could suppress them was fertility ability. It was also because of the scarcity, the giant dragon always mated with all sorts of races and left a large number of dragons just like Asian dragons. Ho! The dragon roared and spat dragon fire out towards Bruce, but Bruce dodged. Puff! At the moment, the immortal spear pierced through the neck of the giant dragon. Originally, the giant dragon could leave an epic, but it was killed by Bruce just on such a meeting. After all, its enemy was not the Earth class but a level fixed star. So when confronted with Bruce, the result of every creature could only be abused. It was just the same as that Surtur could tear him apart at any time. Beep! Congratulations to the host for killing dragon and getting 30 energy values. Upon seeing the system's tips, Bruce licked his lips and flew down towards the next dragon and giant's habitat. At the moment, the killing was going on all the time. And after a long time, even Bruce himself couldn't know how many Muspelheim's biologicals had been killed by him. And in any case where he passed, the violent flame creature would come to him without any mercy. But Bruce just completely killed them as before. Until Bruce had killed a third of the Muspelheim creatures, and even some of the most violent races were completely slaughtered, Bruce finally stopped the remaining flames. They began to realize that it was an act of death. The killings made them feel a bloody cold in the hot environment. When returning to Valkyrie, Bruce opened his own property column through the system. Name, Bruce. Identity, 6th-level agent. Awakening, 1st-level fixed star. Ability, the body of God and devil, deities' power, God bloodline, the gods telekinesis, magic ball, body blur, the high-speed movement, overall sense, body and shield oneness, dark source, light source, vibranium refining ability, spiritual parasite, acute eyes, acute ears, and the lucky ability. Warehouse, original stone, space original stone, immortal thunder spear, super shaking shield, Mark 8 battle armor, Ant-Man battle gear, infinite edition, crystal ball, titan motor, Tantasisud, a go motorcycle ball, life monument, and the death monument. Energy value, 240 W points, for 1-click download, 1-click upgrade, 1-click integrate, ability upgrade, and the upgrading defective ability. In the flame world, Bruce's energy increased more than 2 million points, but the resilience ability of the body of God and devil made Bruce very tired. At the moment, Bruce turned off the properties bar satisfactorily, and then flew towards the direction of Surtur. Chapter 236. At the moment, the surroundings of Surtur completely became a world of red lava, and half of the planet's volcano and land had angered him. If it went on like this, the Muspelheim would be destroyed by him. But Surtur did not want to destroy his mother star. After all, it was the place where he was born. No matter how angry he was, he would not do so. More importantly, he was a bit afraid of being beaten by Valkyrie now. Because no matter how many flame creatures he summoned, they would be killed by the divine gun of Valkyrie. At the moment, the Soul Warrior was still cutting his body. He was sliced into pieces. It was equal to that he had endured such extreme punishments as Ling Chi. Even the gods were unwilling to bear this feeling. Kill me, Valkyrie. I can't bear it anymore. At the moment, Surtur suddenly stopped waving the sword of the twilight and said this tiredly. Since the birth of the ancient times, it was the first time he had been helpless of the eternal fire. Looking at Surtur, Valkyrie waved her hands to the Soul Warrior. At the moment, the spear of Drangarner was shining, and a number of warriors disappeared. At the sight of the disappearance of the Soul Warrior, Surtur finally sighed in relief. Surtur, are you willing to serve me? At the moment, Valkyrie flew to the air and looked at Surtur at a high place. No, I am the king of the flame world. I have my own dignity and death, so I will not serve anyone. Odin couldn't do that in that year, Surtur said. But you, Valkyrie, would even more impossible to do so as a descendant of Odin. In this situation, Valkyrie wanted to summon the Soul Warrior again. At the moment, Bruce flashed to the side of Valkyrie and pulled her hand. Valkyrie, it's useless. Once you release Soul Warrior again, he will definitely separate the eternal fire from his body, and then fall into a quiet state like before. After all, his crown is not destroyed unless the planet is gone. But Valkyrie wanted to speak again, but she quitted. Well, I'll listen to you. Looking at the confident Bruce, Valkyrie still chose to trust him. After returning to a reassuring look at Valkyrie, Bruce looked at Surtur, system to download the flame summoning of Surtur. Beep. 100 W energy value is required to download the ability of Flame Call. Yes or no? Yes. Beep. Congratulations to the host for successfully downloading the flame summoning ability. After that, Bruce activated the power of light and dark source. At the moment, the light wings behind him were bright and dark, and the amazing energy converged into his body. Bruce felt that his body was just like a star-like energy. Surtur was shocked now. what are you doing? At the moment, Bruce looked at Sight calmly. Surtur, you must hand over the eternal fire now, or I'll destroy this planet right away. No! Surtur did not want the Mother Star to be destroyed, because in this way he would lose his root and then become weak as Hela, who had lost Asgard. He was cruel, but he also did not want to lose his own power. Looking at Bruce's open hands as if he was really going to do it, Surtur had to break his body down. Boom! At the moment, Surtur's body disintegrated inch by inch, and then the Sword of Twilight also disappeared with his broken bones. After the dissolution of Surtur, Bruce used the god's telekinesis to re-enter his crown into the system space, and then he held the eternal fire with his hand. Flame summoning. At the moment, Bruce did not disperse the energy in his body, but focused on the energy gathered at the fixed star level and used the newly downloaded flame call. Roar! At the moment, the eternal fire was full of fire, and a seed of fire was condensed in the void. At the moment, the energy in Bruce's body flew towards the flames. The only finger-sized firebirds had been filled with energy, and continued to swell up, and finally, it became a giant creature that was covered with flames. Valkyrie just looked at the fire giant in front of him. This is... Did Surtur revive again? No, he's not Surtur. Looking at the flame giant that was about to be shaped, Bruce murmured. Surtur is an ancient demon, a species created by the creator of the earth. It contains the rules of eternity, so it will not die. But this one that I create is weaker than Surtur, so it can be killed. Finally, the flame giant was completely formed. It looked exactly the same as the other parts of the Sight's body, except for the crown. My master, the giant, like Surtur, kneeled down on his knees the moment he saw Bruce. At the moment, Bruce opened the giant's information through the system. Name, Yabi. Identity, the King of Flame Giant. Ability, the Body of Flame, energy value 80W, Flame Energy, energy value 80W, Flame Control, energy value 80W, Flame Giant Blood Vessel, energy value 60W, Flame Immunity, energy value 60W, Fire, energy value 50W. Because of Bruce, the energy intensity of Yabi was stronger than Surtur, but his abilities of all aspects were still weaker than that of Surtur. But in the current flame world, Yabi could be said to be the existence of tens of thousands of people after Surtur. And through this call, Bruce completely mastered the power of flame summoning. Because Bruce knew that as long as he held the eternal fire, he could summon the flames just like Surtur. Fire dragons, flame giant, and these flame creatures could also be summoned by him. The death of the creature that he summoned was just equivalent to sacrificing his energy extracted from the void, which could not be transformed into the system's energy value. Anyway, this flame summoning was still very important. After all, owning the eternal fire, when meeting a place like the flame world, he didn't need to fight alone. Although the monsters that Valkyrie killed could not be transformed into his energy value, those men he called would definitely help him to absorb energy. This feeling of controlling the army was very good. Looking at the remaining 140W energy value, Bruce knew that he would not be able to download Hela's ability. The flame creatures in this world were very good, but the root couldn't be moved at all. Otherwise, the speed of recovering would be longer and longer. So now they could recover first and then return to this place. At the moment, Bruce thought about this. Then Bruce gave Yabi a look. The fire giant nodded and slowly narrowed his body and condensed into Bruce. That was the ability of his last flame to be deformed. And then Yabi's fire and the eternal fire were integrated into the system space by Bruce. Bruce, where are we going next? Seeing Bruce cut off the eternal fire, Valkyrie realized that they would get out of here. Let's go to Loki's hometown, the country of giants, Jotunheim. At the moment, Bruce put his arms around Valkyrie's waist, and the space ripples reappeared again. Chapter 237. If Mārvēl was a country full of flames and desolation, then Jotunheim was on the opposite. Jotunheim was more like the Antarctic of the Earth. In fact, it was even colder than the Antarctic, and the highest temperature was 100 degrees below zero. This place did not have violence and noise like in the flame world, but only the dead silence of ice and the cold wind, so normal people find it difficult to survive under such extreme weather conditions. But for Bruce and Valkyrie, there was no big problem in overcoming such an environment. At the moment, they landed on Jotunheim, and stood on the surface of thick ice. Jotunheim was a moving continent consisting piece by piece. Behind them, there was a black castle not far away. At the moment, Bruce's divine consciousness swept away and saw the ice giants in the castle. Giants of Jotunheim sat on the throne and opened their eyes. Obviously, when anyone came to the frost world, he would feel it for the first time. At the moment, Bruce did not intend to be polite to Lao Fei and then took out the eternal fire, then Yabi came. This time, Yabi did not turn into a small hill, but turned into giants of Jotunheim, which was about 3 meters high. He transmitted to Bruce the information that he felt uncomfortable about the world. At the moment, Bruce frowned. Even flame giants like him had turned into this, let alone the other flame creatures. Seemingly it was necessary for the flame army to choose Jotunheim. Yabi's appearance was like stabbing a honeycomb, because his body temperature was so high that it was as high as a big fireball in the frost world. But there was a fight between ice and fire. Dong, bang, bang. With the heavy footsteps, giants of Jotunheim all walked out of the castle. There were giants about 3 or 4 meters high, 7 or 8 meters and even 10 meters high. Obviously, giants of Jotunheim's height was proportional to his strength. The ice giant, who had reached more than 5 meters, just casually sent a large amount of ice blade magic to Bruce and his fellows. At the moment, Yabi stood in the front of Bruce and Valkyrie, just like a wall that could not pass through. The ice blade could not cause any harm to him, and the cold knock on his body was instantly vaporized. It seems that besides adapting to the environment, these flame creatures are exactly the enemy of Frost World. At the moment, Bruce activated the source of light and dark source, and then began to gather new flame creatures. On the other side, looking at a large number of ice cream giants that gradually approached themselves. At the moment, Yabi's hands became as red as magma, and the hot steam burst out of his palm. And soon afterwards, 2 hot flames were shot from Yabi's hands. Boom! The huge body was in contact with the ice surface under his feet, announcing the death of giants of Jotunheim. As soon as the two approached, the temperature in Yabi's body was in the rage of giants of Jotunheim, burning the giant that was exposed to it. Trunk. The fall of giants of Jotunheim made Lauf stand up. At Jotunheim, any person who dared to kill giants of Jotunheim was challenging its authority. At the moment, Lauf took up the ancient frost casket. The frost casket was handed over by Loki, and originally, Loki was a combination of giants of Jotunheim and Aesir. In the age of infancy, he was abandoned by the first Frost clan. But later, he was picked up by Odin and lived in Asgard as a prince. But it was a pity that he wanted to cooperate with the giants of Jotunheim and took the throne of Asgard. The frost casket became the deal between Loki and the Frost tribe, and then returned to the hands of Lauf. After getting up, Lauf quickly rushed to Bruce. He was so fast that he was very different from other frosty giants. Roar! 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 The cold wind was still blowing, and it rapidly swept over the cold red eyes on the face of giants of Jotunheim who heard the news. These giants of Jotunheim were the same as other creatures that had lived at Jotunheim for long, they were all evolving towards the direction of cold-blood animals. Moreover, he was indifferent to the death of his companions. At the moment, the ice blades and ice cones flew over Yabi. These frost giants were not only strong, but also had huge magic power in their bodies. Every giant of Jotunheim was a born ice master. But all the ice blades and ice cones were directly evaporated by the flames before they came to Yabi. At the moment, Yabi's whole body emitted intense heat. Damn it! Perceiving the death of a large number of ice giants once again, Lauf was more cruel. As he sensed the position of Yabi, Lauf launched a large magic through the distance. Come on, storm and snow. At the moment, the frost force gathered rapidly with a rotating ice ball in the sky, and then the cloudless sky began to rain. At the moment, streaks of ice needles pierced through the iron stone cave and fell to them. And Bruce, who had finished delivering to the eternal fire, and a violent flame element flew towards him. Oh! Right now, a fire dragon with a length of 200 meters was condensed with the flame elements. All the ice rain had been resisted by Dragon's back ridge. The giant dragon, which was blocked by the ice rain, was full of vigor and confirmed the position of Lauf and flew over with its wings. It wanted to turn giants of Jotunheim into ashes with its burning dragon breath. At the moment, Lauf's cruel red eyes were just like a poisonous snake's gaze on its prey. Flame Dragon also dares come to the Frost World? After saying this, giants of Jotunheim lifted the frost casket in his hand. And soon, a terrifying aura that was enough to create the ice river was shrouded in the space of the red dragon. The flame dragon in the sky was out of sight. Pounce, pounce! At the moment, the cold air transformed the dragon into an ice sculpture and then fell to the ground. Bang! The meteorite-like giant dragon just crumbled into an ice residue. Seeing the tragedy of the red dragon, Bruce was slightly surprised. Now with the frost casket in Lauf's hands, he could actually easily kill the dragon. It seemed that he had to kill Lauf now. Otherwise, all the flame creatures that were called out would die at last. After all, ice was also the natural enemy of flame. Both of them restrained each other, and this could cause additional effects. Only the stronger side was the winner. Valkyrie, please don't interfere with me later. I'll kill the giants of Jotunheim. After saying that, Bruce's light wings emerged from behind. Afterwards, he casually brought the eternal fire into Yabi's body, following which Yabi became immediately as huge as Surtur. Seeing that, Valkyrie rode on the eight-legged divine horse and nodded. Bruce took Immortal Thunder Spear out and flew towards Lauf. Chapter 238. Crack! With a lightning strike, Bruce instantly cut off the hand of Lauf with the frost casket. As Lauf did not really reach the strength of God level, he could not stop Bruce at all. At the moment, Bruce put the frost casket in the system space, and opened Lauf's information. Name, Lauf. Identity, King of the Frost World. Ability, Frost King's Body, Energy Value 90W, Frost King's Power, Energy Value 90W, Frost Control, Energy Value 90W, Ice Cream Call, Energy Value 90W. Cold Ice Immunity, Energy Value 80W, High Temperature Perception, Energy Value 50W. Item, the Crate of Frost, Energy Value 100W. No! At the moment, Lauf looked viciously at his broken arm. His other hand condensed into an ice cone and quickly stabbed towards Bruce. At the moment, Bruce took out the super vibranium shield calmly and blocked Lauf's ice cone. The ice cone marked a deep mark on the shield. The ice cone and the magic ice cone were different, it was from Lauf's blood and incredibly hard. After stopping Lauf, Bruce's thoughts moved. System, download the frost summoning of Lauf. Beep. 90W point energy value is required to call the frost call. Yes or no? Yes. Beep. Ice cream call is downloaded successfully. At the moment, the summoning of the ice cream crowded into Bruce's mind, and the energy value on Bruce's book also reduced to 50W points. But all of this was worthwhile. At the moment, the energy absorbed by Bruce instantly merged together, and then they were poured into the frost casket. Call the ice dragon. At the moment, the frost casket lit up a dazzling light. Immediately, a 200-meter-long frost dragon appeared in front of Lauf, and the huge body was occupied in the sky. The giant dragon that had just died seemed to revive again. Roar! 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 At the moment, the dragon's body was covered with snow and hail, which was constantly whistling with the movement of the giant dragon. No! That's not possible. Lauf's voice was originally very low, but now it was like falling into the ice cave. He really didn't understand it. The flame dragon that was frozen to die just now was apparently summoned by Bruce. How could he summon a huge dragon with the opposite nature now? And more importantly, he could not see any cold power from his body. Was this man wearing a black suit a giant dragon summoner? Ow wow! The dragon roared loudly. At the moment, with the blue light shining in the eyes of the cold ice giant dragon, the giant wings only took off the ice that had been brought up. The stone cones of the four corners were scattered. The dragon eyes that were even bigger than the basketball were noticed. They flew in a circle in the fast sky and rotated in the opposite direction. At that moment, Lauf opened his mouth. Boom! A frosty dragon that was enough to penetrate the city wall was sprayed to Lauf. At the moment, Lauf quickly reacted and erected an ice shield with a diameter of dozens of meters. Bang! The ice shield was in contact with ice cream, then the thickness was decreasing constantly, until Lauf took the hand against the ice, then the color of the ice shield turned into dark blue, and the ice shield density of giants of Jotunheim suddenly increased. It was only then that Frost Dragon's breath was stopped outside. At the moment, Bruce's eyes were changed between black and white. He wanted to release the light and dark energy like releasing Hela, but finally, he found that although the body of God and Devil could contain two kinds of energy, it didn't mean that he actually controlled these two kinds of energy. It was difficult to do so. Nobody knew how much time Hela took to completely control the dark energy. Therefore, he could not directly release two kinds of energy just like Hela used the universe-level technique. So he decided to separate the two strands of energy, and Lauf was exactly his test stone. After thinking for a while, Bruce decided to start with the energy of light. The energy behind him spread out, emitting a silvery white light. Later he concentrated all his energy on his right hand and pointed to Lauf. At the moment, Lauf felt that there was a movement behind him, and he immediately felt a shock. He wanted to move his body even in danger, but finally, he found that he had already been locked tightly by God's telekinesis. At the moment, Bruce's shining fingers were just on the back of Lauf's back. Crack! At the moment, Lauf's spine broke instantly, and the strong beam of light hit his spine up and down. Giants of Jotunheim's body were 100 times stronger than that of ordinary people, but it was still destroyed by this energy into irregular shapes. At the moment, Lauf's nose oozed blood. After knowing what happened in Lauf's body, Bruce waved his wings and left. Ow! The Ice Frost Dragon, who was standing aside, saw Bruce leaving, and Lauf also lost his resistance again. He seized the opportunity to open his mouth again to inject a mouthful of dragon breath. Just in this way, the Frost Dragon breath had thrown giants of Jotunheim into pieces. Finally, Lauf was unable to close his eyes even though he had died. Beep! The host has killed Lauf and gotten 50 W of energy value. At the moment, Bruce frowned. As expected, the energy value shrinked by at least half without a task's prompt. But in fact, as the planet leader, he could still get millions of energy value from Lauf, even though he was weaker than Surtur. Shaking his head, Bruce summoned an ice dragon once again, and he ordered Yabi and the two cold ice dragons to kill all the ice creatures. Then, the cold ice dragon flew up and sprayed a long breath to the surrounding giants of Jotunheim. At the moment, the king of the fire giant fiercely hit it and smashed everything into a mess. The system began to be active with the collapse of the original ice. Beep! Detecting the host had killed giants of Jotunheim and got 30 energy values. Beep! The host was detected to kill giants of Jotunheim and get 30 energy values. Bruce stared at the energy value, 60 W, 70 W, 80 W. 210 W until it increased to 210 W. The frost giant was finally killed by Yabi and Dragon. Boom! Boom! The frost plain where they were located finally completely collapsed, and the frozen soil continuously fell to the ground. At the moment, Valkyrie took the eight-legged divine horse flying into the sky. Just as Valkyrie turned the horse head and was ready to fly to another piece of floating ice, things suddenly became worse. At the moment, the ice mount that was falling violently shattered, and then a beast with a height of over 30 meters appeared. After the beast was deregulated, it rushed towards the horse's position. Valkyrie reacted very quickly. He quickly lifted the gunner's gun, and the light column just bombarded the monster like a meteor. Ho! At the moment, the monster opened its mouth and spewed a meteorite-like ice ball. With a crisp sound, the ice ball was exploded by the meteor light and shattered into the sky, and then, the meteor ray was buffered. It instantly charred the monster's leg. At the moment, the giant beast who saved his life was preparing to jump to another plane, but it found that the sky had been covered by another giant thing. Crack! At the moment, the ice-cold dragon bit the beast's neck directly. The giant beast struggled, but his body and head had already been separated. Chapter 239. Oh? The ice giant is smart. Noticing the energy value brought by the frost giant beast, Bruce used acute eyes and saw that Frost Dragon killed the ice cream giant beast. Since he came to Jotunheim, the frost giant beast had been hiding in the ice and watched him secretly. Only when it saw Valkyrie approaching it would it suddenly attack. But the frost giant beast had no advantage in the face of the frost dragon. After all, there was a gap between them in size and it could not fly, so Bruce did not put it into his eyes at all. And after the frost giant's floating continent became a history, some other creatures in the Sea of Jotunheim could be almost out of sight. Among them, there were giants, such as ice giants and frost giants, and so on. Seeing flame giants and ice dragons destroying frost giants' whole clan, all the other tribes lost their courage to fight against Bruce. After using divine consciousness to search the ice cream giant beast hidden in the ice, Bruce left Jotunheim with Valkyrie. At the moment, the space ripples appeared. Bruce and Valkyrie returned to Thor's cave in Asgard again, and Heimdall and Sif were still guarding aside Thor. The unexpected appearance quickly shocked them. At the moment, Bruce was still in a suit without any change, but the scene where Valkyrie held Gunny's gun and rode on the 8 feet of Pegasus deeply shocked Sif. After all, as long as the man was born in Asgard, he would grow up by the legend of Odin and the 8-foot Pegasus. Oh, Valkyrie, I haven't seen you just for a few days. How did you find these things? Sif said this excitedly now. It was Bruce who took me to get them. After saying this, Valkyrie was blushing. Looking at Sif's curious gaze, Bruce shrugged, these are Valkyrie's luck, it did not have anything to do with me. At the moment, Heimdall's dark red eyes did not move. He was keeping silent, but he suddenly smiled, anyway, since we can get Odin's tool and divine horse back, our opportunity of victory has greatly increased. At the moment, Heimdall bowed slightly and made a solemn Asgard salute, God bless, thank you, Bruce, you are Asgard's forever friends. At the moment, Sif also nodded slightly. She seldom saw such action of Heimdall and then her eyes towards Bruce also began to change. Heimdall, let's counter the attack. Valkyrie suddenly said. What, counterattack, but we have little troop strength. At the moment, Sif lowered her head. Even with the king's weapon, she did not think she could defeat Hela. Well, let's leave now. Heimdall nodded. Brother, are you crazy? Didn't you see that day's situation? We're going to die. Sif said excitedly. At the moment, Valkyrie walked over and placed her hands on Sif's shoulder. Sif, trust me. This time, we will definitely get the Golden Palace back and save Asgard. But... Looking at Valkyrie's serious eyes, Sif finally stopped what she wanted to say. Well, let's go. Then Valkyrie took the lead out and the strong self-confidence enabled Sif to feel like she had changed greatly. At the moment, Bruce did not speak anything. He just took the sunglasses and directly went out with Valkyrie. Heimdall glanced at Sif. Let's go, sister. Let's call someone else. Believe me, you'll be surprised soon. After hearing this, Sif followed him with doubt. Well, brother, I'll believe you this time, but I wish I could convince them, Sif said. At the moment, a thin woman stripped Grape's skin and handed it over to him. Skalsini tilted his head and took the grapes into his mouth. The bodyguard beside him originally stood straight. But when the bodyguard saw the white snow on the chest of the young woman, his throat spat out, and the body shook slightly. At the moment, Skalsini glanced at the bodyguard, opened his mouth and spat out the grape seeds proudly. Jim, as long as you follow me, my position will be yours sooner or later. After hearing this, James was very scared and his legs shook heavily. Yes, Mr. Skalsini, I must be loyal to you. Well, if you're alright, go down first. I'm going to have a good chat with Bala about some serious matters. But as Jim turned around to leave, another guard rushed in. Mr. Scalzini, it's bad. Someone wants to attack the city. Boom! At the moment, Scalzini immediately jumped up and turned over the plate in the hands of Bala. What did you say? Who's so bold? How many soldiers does the other side have come? Great! Great master, there are only 5 people. Bang! After hearing of this, Scalzini waved his hand to the guard's face, then the guard fell on the ground. Are you sure you're not in a dream? Only 5 people? Yes. There are more than a dozen dragons accurately. You have confirmed that you didn't drink. As soon as he heard the bodyguard's words, Scalzini was about to slap him again when the black dragon's eyes full of windows winked at him. Pounce! At the moment, Scalzini sat on the ground shockingly. The enemy are attacking. James, go and pull the alarm. Whoa! And later, the Golden Palace entered the warfire status, various black tech all targeted at the giant dragon in the sky. Swoosh! 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 The laser shells were all blocked by the giant dragon's wings. Ow, ow! Boom! Boom! Later, he was destroyed by the dragon flame. Inside the Golden Soul Castle, Hela, who originally closed her eyes, suddenly opened her eyes now. Then she looked up at the direction of life, and disappeared from the ground. Outside the Golden Palace, Valkyrie rode 8 feet of Pegasus in the air. Looking at the dragon gradually destroying the cannon tower outside the Golden Palace, she immediately grasped the divine gun in hand. It's fast. Hela, you've killed all of my soldiers and forced me to other stars. Thinking about this, the female martial god lifted her head and looked forward sharply. Today is my day to win. At the moment, Bruce was walking on the streets facing the Golden Palace. He took the frost casket out calmly, and summoned an ice dragon once again. Sif, who followed Bruce, was very shocked. Then she walked over to Bruce, pushed his sleeve, and said embarrassedly, Bruce, what magic is this? Can you teach me? At the moment, the little girl following Sif was also shocked by Eden. Originally, she cheated her mother for coming here just for fun. After all, none of Asgard's soldiers wanted Sif to die. But finally, things dramatically changed. This marks the end of part 39 of the story Mārvēl Unlimited Skills, I Can Download. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button to listen more. Hit the bell icon to get notified of all the new content uploaded to the channel ASAP.